Thank you and welcome to our course, Mobility Stacks for Better Movement. I'm Spencer Aiken with the Stronger Together Education Academy, and today's lesson is going to be part learning and part active. So you do want to have some room available so that you can participate in the movements we're going to teach you. Movements, also known as mobility, are a great way for individuals to learn, improve, and master body control, aka motor control. What we're trying to do here is simplify how we can control our body through simple, normal human movement and create movement patterns that allow us to progress from beginner to expert simply and progressively. Okay, so let's get started. The takeaways for today are such. Moving better means controlling our movements better. We tend to get in a rush when we're learning things. It's almost like we want to be an expert right away. So we have to understand there's a beginning process. And sometimes just going down to the base level of foundational fitness helps to really ramp up our progress quickly and efficiently. So we start at the base level, knowing we're going to progress from there. This means we include our mobility stacks as part of our warm-up, because while we're fresh, we can get a better sense of focus because we are not beginning to be fatigued or the mind starts to wander. A proper warm-up through movement and mobility increases the ability of the participant while decreasing the risk of injury. That right there is very important. Minimizing any risk of injury is actually rule number one with fitness and training. You want to minimize to the best of your ability. Although we cannot eliminate it entirely, we do want as little risk as possible. That's why form becomes so important. We step back just so that we can be safe, okay? We call them regressions, okay? Sometimes it's just modifications, but we have to ensure safety above all else, okay? A proper warm-up is more than just doing an easier version of the drill, exercise, or movement. You may be guilty of this. I know I've been guilty of doing it, where you go into the gym and you're gonna work out and you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do upper body today, so I'm gonna do some chest. You simply lay down on the bench press, you do one easy set of just the barbell, and then you add some weight and you're ready to go. Well, are you really sufficiently warmed up? The answer is no. You just did an easier version of what you're about to do, which means you minimally got your full body warm, okay? And what do we mean by warm? Elevating your heart rate, loosening up your joints, creating and increasing your muscle pliability, getting your brain focused and attentive so your central nervous system is ready. All of those are very important, okay? So an implementation of mobility stacks and selected movements covers a broader spectrum of athleticism. Athleticism is your ability to control your body. Not necessarily athletic sport, but the act of athleticism is a definition of full body control, aka being athletic. So a broader spectrum of athleticism and fitness, including increased joint range of motion, improved pliability of the muscles. And what's pliability of the muscles? Well, if you think of your muscles as a rubber band and they have a natural elasticity, when you pull on a rubber band to kind of warm it up or loosen it up, and you just stretch it nice and easy, your muscles are doing the same thing. When you increase the heat and the elasticity of the muscle by giving it a nice stretch and recoil, stretch and recoil, stretch and recoil, you're improving the pliability of that muscle. We also have elevated heart rate. Very important. Your heart has to know what you're about to do. Your lungs and your breathing have to know what you're about to do as well. Okay, and then increased vasodilation. So we are going to start sending more blood flow to the working muscles to help them through the performance. Okay. The ability to move our body under complete control is the goal of physical education. All right, we have to and we should be teaching sport, movement, and physical fitness in all broad spectrum of physical education. We're teaching skills for an entire life or lifelong skills. All right, physical education gives us the opportunity to teach skills at an early age that they're going to carry on for the rest of their life. Learning to control as we coordinate different structures is the basis for that control. All right. So if I'm sticking my hand out here, my lower opposite body part would learn to coordinate. We're coordinating those opposite structures because that's a natural way to maintain our sense of gravity or our center of gravity, and also learn to coordinate as we shift, move, and manipulate our body parts to help us stay better balanced, AKA more athletic. All right, we are teaching the skills of a lifetime. It's very important to understand that. What we do today can influence and help kids for the duration of their life. If you teach someone how to squat when they're 8, 10 years old, and they master it, barring any major catastrophic traumas, they'll be able to do that for the rest of their life. They'll already have a sense of it mastered. I like to say it's like riding a bike. Once you learn it, you know it for the rest of your life. It's like throwing a ball. Once you learn it, you know it for the rest of your life, okay? Fitness is essentially the same. Once you learn the positions, once you learn and master the movements, you now own that skill for the rest of your life. It's very important, especially as we try to combat the rising epidemic of obesity in adults. We teach them the skills younger, they can continue to have those skills as they age. All right. Moving better equals feeling better equals living better. We've all seen those people who have a slightly off walk and it causes lower back pain. Their gait just isn't right. They could be having pain with their knee, their ankle, their hip, their lower back, but it throws off their walk and they're going to continually be in some form of pain. So learning how to move better, learning how to control our body better allows us to potentially reduce injury, reduce pain, and both of those will improve our quality of life. Generally, what physical fitness and physical education is about is improving the quality of life through physical activity. All right, mobility stacks. Here at the Stronger Together Education Academy, we teach mobility stacks as a structured yet unrestricted movement of a potential capability. What does that mean? It means everyone is a little bit different. So we start off with a base level, knowing that everyone can progress from there and take it as far or as minimally far as they are capable of, or as far as they are capable of. So they're unrestricted in nature, meaning you go as far to the best of your ability as possible. All right, we combine different movements to create stacks. All right, our stacks are essentially 6 positions, which we'll go over in a little bit, okay? The starting position, as we say, all right? Stacks can combine separate movements from separate positions, but for today's sake, we're just gonna go over maintaining one stack through one position. It's an easier base level of learning, although you can combine multiple positions through multiple stacks, all right? We work to and eventually through your limitations. As we've already explained, some people are here, some people are here. We want everyone to get to here, but while these people are here and these people are here, these people might actually get up to here. And that's great. We want everyone to continually be improving. Mobility stacks are an easy way to develop body and motor control. Why? Because we're learning how to coordinate and control full body movements. We're not limiting. If I'm just doing bicep curls like such, I'm not really learning how to coordinate and control my lower body at that time. Although bicep curls can be a great exercise, they're not teaching body movement, all right? So they're limited in their scope of that, all right? When we do these, we want to work / warm up to your full ability. We've all seen those athletes, those kids, maybe yourself. When we're doing the warm up, it's almost like, I guess I have to do this. So let's just get through it, give as minimal effort as possible, and let's just get it over with. Okay, not necessarily the best attitude to have for a warm up, because an actual proper warm up, as we've already alluded to, will help to improve your performance through elevated heart rate, increased muscle pliability. It'll make your joints feel better, kind of help lubricate the synovial fluid of your joints. And it's gonna get you ready to perform. Sometimes we just think, well, I drove to the gym, I'm ready to go, or I'm here at the school classroom auditorium, I'm just ready to go, or I'm young and I don't need these. Well, we gotta look at it like this. This is part of the program. It's not a standalone program. And yes, you can do mobility stacks as an actual part of the body of a fitness program. So, for example, I can do a set of push-ups as part of my workout. I can also do a mobility stack in our bear position, which we'll go over in a second, which would be working the same muscles. It would improve my cardiovascular fitness. It would improve my muscular strength. It would have some skeletal benefit of increasing bone density. It would increase my central nervous system awareness. Okay, my neurological brain is having to be firing to control everything. So yes, doing it as part of your warm-up is great. Also, you can do these as part of a workout. All right, not just the warm-up part of your workout or your fitness program. Okay, we tend to like to start with one move, then we add a more conditioning aspect of that move later during the workout because they've already learned that move. It's a great benefit for most kids. All right, so our positions, as I already mentioned, there are 6 positions. So this is where we're going to get into the active portion of the lesson. So if you do have a spot where you can participate, that'll be great. I'm going to step back in a second so that I can get into the position. All right. But first things first, not every place has the same flooring surface. Okay. So if you're on a concrete floor or a hardwood floor, it can be a little tough on the knees. Although as we're young, or when we were young, it's not as detrimental to your overall rest of your day as we get older. It's just the benefit of getting older, I guess. So if you have available, or if you need something, yoga mats work very well. We actually have one of our after school programs, so we use those little dot pads for. They're numbered, and we call them lily pads. They're just about yay big, and they're only about that thick, but they work very well to put one on each knee. Anything will really be a benefit, but we tend to notice that there are a lot of pads around, gymnastic rolling mats at our schools, also yoga mats, which you'll see right back there. I have a yoga mat available, but for today's purposes, I'm going to be using just a regular Human X by Harbinger pad. Okay, very easy and actually very nice because it's portable and easy to carry and bring with me everywhere. All right, so let's at this point get started. All right, so as you can see, I'm kneeling on it. All right, we have our 6 positions. We have heels. Okay, we have quadruped, which is actually on all 4s. Although technically we're on 6s because our feet are here. But once we go to knees up off the ground, we're now in a quadruped position, which means on all 4. As you may know, walking is bipedal, meaning 2, quadruped being all 4s. Okay, then we have our prone position, which is more of a high plank, aka push-up position, which is really truly right about here. Okay, all right, we can also be in the lying position for prone. Okay, so we could be laying on our stomach and be prone. which is the true definition of what prone is laying on the floor with your belly down, okay? Those are our first three positions. I have to say, these are the most common positions that we use. There's simply more variations and exercises we can use from these positions. Although you can find what you like to do, what your kids like to do, we just found that heels and quadruped are our most common. Okay, we also call our quadruped a bear position. It kind of gives it a movement capability name. So we find that heels and quadruped is what we do a lot of the time, not exclusively. It just tends to be that it's where our kids are most naturally capable of doing a lot of the moves. Your kids may be a little different. Your kids may be a little older. Your kids may be a little younger. As we mentioned, we have kids who are as young as 5 and 6 years old doing these. Although I could imagine seeing some 3 or 4-year-olds doing it, there really is no limitation on how young or even how old you can be without being capable of doing these. Okay? All right. So next we have our supine position, which is belly side up. So we're actually laying on our back. Okay, so we're in this position. We can be here, we can have our knees bent, but we tend to be right here. For example, a bridge would be a movement out of our supine position. Okay, we can go figure 4, and that's a movement out of our supine position. Okay. We can also go into standing. Standing is an easy one. Clearly, we do this one all the time. Okay, we do a lot of things standing. We can do mobility drills through standing. For example, one that you probably are familiar with is usually tends to be more of a strength training. That's just a side lunge. So I can get this stretch, and as I just shift, I'm getting the stretch throughout right here. I'm getting my knees loosened up. I'm getting my ankles moving side to side. My core is engaged. Just simple, easy shifting could be considered mobility drills. And if we combine those into a separate movement style, so side twist, into the lunge, into a lunge, into a side lean, those would all be sort of a stack basis right there. All right. And last but not least for our positions is just sitting. Whether you're sitting, knees bent, legs straight, these are all just sitting positions that we're capable of doing certain moves out of. And so that would be your 6th and final body position, AKA start position. And that's sitting. Okay. So now we get into our mobility stacks, which, as we said earlier, is combining unrestricted movements or unstructured capabilities into a synchronous movement pattern. All right. You are not limited or bound by how many exercises you can combine. However, the more we do in a row, the more our brain tends to wander. And so it's hard to remember if we're trying to have some semblance of a structure. Anything more than 4, we tend to find that the kids will sort of forget what we just do, what's next. You may find that it's 2 movements is where your kids are capable of. It may even be just 1. So for example, if I was on my heels and I just did a sit back on my heels, coming forward thruster, that may be where they're capable of their remembrance or their ability to go, oh yeah, we're just doing this up and down. And that's fine. Just doing 1 move can be great. Maybe they're capable of a second move, so I could add a lunge into it. And now I'm getting stretched through here, stretched through here, stretched through here, a little bit through here. And then I can simply go back onto the other leg. Now I simply sit back, and what was my first move? Just simply bringing hips forward. So now I'm getting a movement through here, movement through here, movement through my lower back, movement through my upper body. I can even add some shoulders. And all of those are allowing you to understand where your kids are and meet them where they are. Remember, a lot of times we overestimate and we try to make them here, but we don't have that fallback program. This is that sort of fallback program that allows us to say, hey, we need to meet you where you are, so we'll meet you right here, and we're gonna bring you up with us, all right? Which is an amazing thing. Bringing them from here to here, up to where we are, that's an amazing feeling, all right? So let's get started with demonstrating some of our full mobility stacks, all right? So to start, I'm gonna start in a heels position. So I'm going to kind of turn this way so that you can kind of see what I'm going to do. Now, some of us can get our butts all the way to our heels. Little knee injury has me a little limited on my bending capabilities, okay? So that's the beauty of this. As we've already explained, you're simply doing what you're capable of doing. So as I said, I am dealing with a little knee injury, but you'll notice that everything's capable. Even though I can't get back to where I once was pre-injury, I can still work through pain-free, all right? And under control, also a secondary key. So the first exercise we're gonna do is a thruster, okay? Second exercise is a lean back. Third exercise is a side lean. And then the fourth exercise is a lunge. Now, the beauty of this, lunge has many options available. I can lunge forward with my knee at 90 degrees, which is going to be better for right here, for the hip flexor of the opposite leg. I can put my foot forward and shift backwards, which is now going to be better for this hamstring of this leg, the back of our thigh. I can go out wide, which is now better for the groin of this and the groin of this. All of these are simply positional awareness of our front leg, meaning you're unlimited in how you can improve and how you can move through these, okay? So now that you know the 4 moves, I'm gonna go through a little stack and show you sort of how it flows from one to the next, okay? So let's say I'm on both knees, I'm in my heels position, I'm gonna come up, bring my hips as far forward as possible, and then I'm going back down. Then I'm thrustering up and leaning back, hands down. See how it kind of builds on top of it? Down and up into a side lean, down and up into a side lean. Now I'm gonna go into that lunge. So I bring it up, back down, and up. Okay, now, so that would be 1 rep of the stack. And how many reps are we doing? We tend to not focus on doing it for reps simply because some kids move slower, some kids move faster, some kids hold each position for a longer period of time, and some kids rush to just get it done. Because of that, we really prefer doing it for time. We do a lot of 30 seconds, 1 minute, 90 seconds, and 2 minute distances, okay, so to speak, or length of times. We love a lot of them for 1 minute. The slower the movements are, as you notice, there was a lot of slow movements in that stack. There's also a lot of left, right, like side lean is left, side lean is right, leg, leg. Because there's so many more movements, even though we're not doing different movements, it just takes a little bit of time. So that stack right there, we might do for 2 minutes, and we simply might get through only 3 to 4 reps of that in the time allotted for 2 minutes. That's fine. There's no specific amount of reps that you need to do. Although if you were doing a lot of this for yourself, 3 to 5 is where we generally program it out. If we were to call it reps, but as I said, most of the time, I'd say probably 90–95% of the time, with our kids, we do it for times. With adults, we tend to say, let's do it for reps, okay? Just because we can explain to adults the pacing of it, and they get it, they grasp it a little quicker, okay? All right, so that was a heels position with a thruster, lean back, side lean, and a lunge position, okay? So now we're gonna go into a QP, quadruped, also sometimes known as bear position, okay? And in this position, we're actually gonna go into a child's pose. Some of these are yoga names, okay? Some of these are, maybe you call it something different. Remember, the names generally aren't important. It's the relaying of information and understanding that information that's really, truly important, okay? So for the first one, we're gonna do quadruped. I'm on all fours. I'm gonna push away into a child's pose. I'm gonna shift back to the true quadruped, drop my belly button towards the floor. That's a cat, and a camel where I raise away as much as I can. I then go back down. I then take my hand and I'm going to do thread the needle. I want to reach as far across as I can. Then, and only then, do I drop my shoulder. We tend to find that people want to just put their hand down and drop their shoulder. That eliminates most of our rotation capability. So slide through first, go as far as you can, then let that shoulder drop. So it'll look like this. Rotate, 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 rotate. That's about as far as I can get. And now I get closer to the floor. Come back, and we're going to go to the other side. So that's thread the needle. I'm then going to thread the ankle, which is going through my legs, grabbing on the outside of the ankle, and then using that as a pulling capability to pull yourself closer to the floor. And repeat to the other side. Okay, so that would have been a mobility stack of child's pose, cat camel, thread the needle, and then thread the ankle. If you're familiar with the movements, you'll know that they involve lower back, mid back, upper posterior portion of the shoulder. We get that good rotation for our spine, okay? And you'll notice that they kind of build on each other. Just like within our heel position, we were building up our lower back and hips with a lot of those movements. Now we're building up and improving and loosening up our lower back and our mid back area with a great emphasis on those, okay? So I'm gonna run through that one time just to kind of get a sense of how it looks just doing it. So child's pose. Cat, camel. Reset. Notice how everything is kind of slow and under control. Okay. A quote that we really like is slow is smooth and smooth is quick. We want to be under control and we want to be slow with our movements. And when we tend to rush, we get herky-jerky, as we say, and we don't want that. That's sort of off-putting for our body. So slow is smooth and smooth is quick. All right, so that was our second position from our second mobility stack from our quadruped position, okay? So now, our next mobility stack is from our prone position. As we said, prone can be high plank, AKA push-up, or it can be on the ground doing it, okay? Let me show you one move that you can do that we really love from our true prone position, and that would be like a scorpion where I bend my knee, bring it up, and rotate back, bend up. So that's just one possible movement. And as we said earlier, you can combine from different positions. So I could actually do a high push-up position, high plank position, allow myself to lower to the ground and do scorpion, okay? So that could look something like this. So I could do a Cobra type move, a dog type move, lay on my stomach, scorpion, scorpion, into that Cobra again, into that dog. That was just to show you that you can do or combine different positions. I could have even bent my knees while doing it into a quadruped. So you are capable of combining positions, even the same position with the different positions, meaning high plank, low plank, okay? So let's do the actual move of what is on your presentation, okay? So we have Cobra, dog, monkey, and Komodo. Yes, a lot of these are named after animals because we simply are replicating what they kind of look like in nature, okay? All right, so Cobra. I've already demonstrated, and I'm simply allowing my hips to drop towards the ground. I'm like a coiled cobra about to strike. Some people call this an A-frame, which is fine. Okay, it's also known as dog, downward dog. Then I do monkey, which is shifting and trying to touch my ankle. And then I'm going to go into Komodo, which is trying to put my foot as close to my hand as possible as I then drop my hips in the back. So from the other side, you'll see it, how I drop my knee towards the ground. And that will be Komodo, okay? So Cobra, dog, monkey, Komodo. And all together, it would look like this. All right, so Cobra, really simple, easy movement. Back your hips out into dog. Drop back into our start position of push-ups. Monkey, monkey, Komodo, and Komodo. And then I would simply repeat for the length of time. Now with this one, because we're in that extended push-up position hold, our triceps and shoulders and our chest are really getting a good workout. So how long we go is based off of those muscles and joints are going to get tired quicker. So maybe 1 minute for those, okay? Remember, if you really do want to do it for reps, for that one, probably lower on the rep range, I'll say 3 versus 5. Your cardiovascular fitness and your breathing will thank you for it, okay? Next, we're gonna demonstrate a standing move, okay? Because as you should already know, lower body is very important for our overall physical fitness. All right, for this, we're gonna do an overhead squat, which an overhead squat in and of itself is a great movement assessment to see where our flexibility or lack of movement capabilities are. If we're tight in the shoulders, your hands will come forward. If you're tight in the hips, your lower body will come forward, or your upper body will come forward. If you're tight in the knees or ankles, your lower body will shift forward. So it's a great, easy assessment of how you look. So from the side, it would be like this: tight shoulders, tight upper back, or lower back and hips, tight knees and ankles. Okay, see the difference? All of those are easy to assess for even the beginner level fitness physical education teacher. Okay, so we can watch and say, hey, we need to work on this. And then from there, you can start to incorporate more movements of mobility stacks that might help with those limitations. Okay, but let's get back on point. We're gonna do overhead squat into a gorilla shift, into what we call back out, and into a good morning, okay? So I'm gonna do this from the side so you kind of see. So my hands come up, I'm gonna go down as low as I can. I then put my hands into a fist on the ground, and I shift, okay? So my hands give me that stability and capability of moving. If you're not capable of doing this shift, because you can't get low enough, that's fine. You can do overhead into gorilla. Then you simply, instead of moving your hands side to side, you can't get low enough, you simply back out, hands come up, and do good morning up. Okay? So let's do that where we just kind of flow through it. I'm going to eliminate the shift part and just do gorilla position, just to kind of give you that base level of what it might look like, especially since the shifting is a little bit more advanced and your kids might not be ready for the upper body control just yet. So overhead, get low, gorilla, shift back, back out, and good morning. I would simply flow through that. And as you may already know, your lower body is a little bit more fit than your upper body, meaning it's easy to do standing movement. So I could do this one for a longer duration without getting as fatigued as I would with, say, a high plank or a push-up position. We've got to be careful that we're not just getting taxed and doing it completely fatigued. Which brings me to another point. If you are getting fatigued, it is absolutely okay to pause, even while the timer's going. We don't want kids to feel bad for themselves because they're just not as fit as other kids. So we instruct, you're just working to the best of your abilities at all times. Try to continually get a little bit better, but know that some of these are difficult. And as long as you're giving your best, that's all we ask. So maybe say, hey, if you get to 30 seconds, but without having to go to your knees this time, let's work to try to get to 35 seconds the next run. That's a major accomplishment. And kids really do love working on those fun, challenging, and grabbing those accomplishments. Okay? So that was a standing position. Overhead squat, gorilla, back out, and good morning. All right? So the next one we're going to do, I'm going to be in a supine position. So I'll be laying on my back with my belly towards the roof. All right? We're going to do a side to side, a knees to chest, a Piriformis stretch, and a figure 4 stretch. These are mostly about our hips, a little bit about our hamstring, and a decent amount about our lower back. So it works really well as a movement before lower body. It's actually what we love for teachers. So as a teacher, you can be demonstrating these with your kids, whether you're a physical education teacher, or whether you're a health teacher, whether you're a math or social studies teacher. We tend to get really tight in our hips and lower back from standing all day long. So this is one we actually love for adults in general because it helps to loosen up all those body parts. All right, so let's demonstrate. We go onto our back. Remember, in a supine, you can be legs straight or knees bent. But for this, we start out knees bent. So we're going to go side to side, which is generally where I would put my arms out to the side. You can see my hand right here because I'm close to the wall. So I can also have them here if I need to. I just simply let my body rotate. Most kids will want their hands out to the side because that helps to stabilize. Come to the center and stop in the center. We don't just want to be going side to side. We want to be under control. So that stop ensures that we're under control. So let's say I start here, I rotate, I then come and I stop. I then go to the other side. Okay, and I stop. Next is knee to chest. Two options. I can do dual knee to chest, or I can add a little bit of coordinated movement and bring one knee in and see how the opposite leg goes to the ground. That's learning that body control, kind of cross-body coordination. And then I can do the same thing with the other knee. So it's still knee to chest, but I'm learning that cross-body coordination. And then I go here, okay? And that cross-body coordination can be important for the next move, which is Piriformis, which is dropping one leg out as I bring knee to chest, but then I allow my body to rotate over. Okay, some people can easily get their foot to the floor. Then when you get to your foot to the floor, you still keep pulling down on that knee right there. and you'll get that stretch throughout all right here. You then go back to the center and up and switch. Now see how this hand kind of comes over to help me stay balanced so I don't just roll out of the move. This arm keeps me under control. So we're trying to keep this shoulder back down. Okay, then back to the start. Hands come relaxed. Lastly, we have our figure four, which is putting the ankle over the knee, bringing the knee into our chest, drop it down, switch it up, bring it in, and back down. Then I would simply roll into repeat. Side to side, knee to chest. You see I'm doing the singular version. Since I'm already there, I can do piriformis. Piriformis. Piriformis is the muscle right here. By the way, it runs from the tailbone to the hip. Okay, a lot of times it causes a lot of muscle pain in adults. Okay, then figure four. I don't necessarily have to grab on behind my knee, and I can get all the benefit of that figure four. Okay, so that was a supine position, laying on your back. I had side to side, knees to chest, piriformis, and figure four. All right, next we're actually going to do one of my favorites, which is our prone position. We're going to do stinger, stingray, kicks, and scorpion. Okay, so we're going to get into our prone position. Okay, now a lot of times, so we can do this in prone, right? I bend, stinger, stingray, kick, and then I can do scorpion. Okay, now I rushed through that to show you one thing. We could also do this in quadruped. Okay, so here, ready? Stinger, stingray, kick, scorpion. So a scorpion is the turn, by the way. So the beauty of all that is, you'll notice I did every move. I can also variabilize it based on what I'm trying to accomplish. We tend to find that with our younger crowd, high plank isn't necessarily the easiest move for them to control. Their hips tend to sag, is what I'm saying. We tend to get this, and then they're here. So we find that if we get them to understand our knees at a 90 degrees, they can hold this position better than that position. Okay? So let's do this from our prone position, okay, for the sake of what your slide said. All right, so push up. Now, one last thing. What do you want to do? Answer this question. Do I want to do all one side, or do I want to do one move at a time? Okay, the beauty of it is, how do you want to approach it? Okay, so let's say I do stinger, stingray, kick, scorpion. Okay, so that was all one side. Awesome. Okay, different. Learning better version of cross body coordination is going side to side. So stinger, stingray, kick, scorpion. Okay, so once again, we're in the push-up position, making it very fatiguing for our upper body muscles. Side note, on the kicks, we tend to notice when we're beginning, until we've mastered the movement, kids like to keep their hips high, so they want to stay here as they kick. That's an awkward position. Reinforce helping them by telling them to drop their hip to the floor. dropping their hip to the floor allows them to maintain a better balanced position. And as you know, making it easier makes it a little bit less of a challenge sometimes. And that sense of accomplishment is what kids really love. All right? So that was from the prone position. Now, we've learned these moves already. Bear, quadruped. We just did stinger. We've done cobra. We've yet to do one of these moves known as frog. But what you're gonna notice is, as I mentioned, moves can be capable of from multiple start positions. Multiple start positions can be combined to allow for a movement from, say, 2 movements from bear, quadruped, 2 movements from our prone, and easily sync together. I can actually combine a quadruped into a standing through our gorilla. For example, if I did cobra, dog, walk into gorilla, see how I'm now standing? I can now go overhead, back to gorilla, walk it out, and into cobra. Okay? Simple transitions allow for that. Okay? If I was on my stomach, I could do the lying scorpion, allow my body to roll over all the way. Now my belly is up, and I can do supine position. Easy transitions when you think about how we can combine separate movements. All right, so back on point. The start position is bear, aka quadruped. We're going to do bear, which is just kind of holding that position. The start position is actually quadruped. Bear is what we do when we're either holding or slightly moving, because we can do bear walks very easily. Side to side, forward, backwards, all of those are in bear. You may be familiar with bear crawls. We have stinger, cobra, and frog. All right, so bear, starting quadruped, we come up when we're bear. Okay? We then go stinger, stinger. Now, walk out into cobra. Walk back in, and now I open up my knees and I shift back, and that's frog. I then reset. Let's say 2 seconds, 1, 2. So I'm in bear, stinger, stinger, cobra, frog, and back into bear. Okay, simple and easy, but you'll notice through that, I'm actually in multiple positions. I have moves that are capable of being performed in multiple positions. As long as you're under control, and as long as you're learning to master the movements, you're capable of multiple positions and multiple moves through those positions. Okay, and if you'll notice on the next slide, we have for you a deeper understanding ebook of what mobility is, what movements are, and how you can be capable of increasing your capabilities for those movements. So the slide is actually a hyperlink to a free email or a free ebook download if you want to learn more about incorporating different mobility style movements, such as foam rolling, trigger point using like lacrosse balls, and all those are available with some definitions to help you understand more about warming up and recovery methods for improving overall physical education and fitness. Okay? And last but not least, that is our course for today. We hope that you found it informational and easy to apply to your kids. The reason we do this is because we love to help progress physical education into the 21st century so that we start to understand everyone is capable of physical fitness. Everyone has a starting point, and our life is a journey of fitness as we try to achieve our greatest potential and maintain that for the duration of our lives. What we teach today establishes that foundation that our kids will carry on throughout the duration of their life. The entirety of their life can be affected and changed for the better by what we do today. If you do have any questions, you can email us at info@strongertogetherfamily.com. You can also connect with us on our social medias, okay? We do post actively on our Facebook group page, Stronger Together Academy, where we're constantly adding more fitness educated physical education tips, performance training and such. You're free to join that if you like. I'm Spencer Aiken with the Stronger Together Education Academy. Thank you for allowing us to participate in your fitness physical education journey. Thank you.